Hello everyone. Today I am starting chapter 4 of class 11th, that is chemical bonding and molecular structure. This is part 1 of the chapter in which we will study about covalent and ionic bond, their formation and the energy changes during the formation of these bonds. So topic covered in this part are chemical bond, Lewis symbols and its significance, then ionic bond, its definition, how ionic bond is formed, then the energy changes during its formation and the conditions necessary for the formation of a stable ionic bond. The next topic is covalent bond and its formation, then coordinate bond, properties of ionic and covalent bond, Lewis representation of molecules and calculation of formal charge, then limitations of octet rule, and bond parameters like bond length, bond angle, bond order, bond enthalpy, etc. So let us start our chapter with chemical bond. So first of all, what is a chemical bond? The attractive force which holds various atoms or ions together in different chemical species is called a chemical bond. Suppose this is species A, this is species B in molecule AB. So the force by which these two are bonded is called a chemical bond. Now, modes of chemical combination. Now, chemical bond can be formed in two ways. First is by transfer of electron. That means one atom gain electron, another one loses electron, and this type of bond formed is called ionic bond. The second is by sharing of electron. Now the bond formed by sharing of electron is called covalent bond. For example, like H2, Cl2, they share the electrons to form a bond. Now the first approach of the chemical bonding is Clausius-Lewis approach. So first of all, we should know what is octet rule. Octet rule is given by Lewis. So Lewis said that every element tends to complete its outermost shell to the nearest noble gas. That means each element tends to complete its valence shell with 8 electrons. And that is why to complete its valence shell, it may gain electron, it may lose electron, or it may share electron. And this is called octet rule. What is the definition of octet rule? That atoms achieve their stable configuration by sharing or transfer of electron when they are linked by chemical bond. This is called octet rule. Now coming to the Lewis symbol. Now what is Lewis symbol? In the formation of a molecule, only the outermost shell electrons, that is valence electrons, are taking part. So Lewis introduced a simple notation to represent the valence electron in an atom, and these notations are called Lewis symbols or electron dot symbols. Now how the Lewis symbols are represented? First we write down the symbol of the element. Like here the symbol of the element is hydrogen is element, so H is the symbol, and in the valence shell there is only one electron, so we represent it by this dot. Then the second is lithium, again it is having one electron, so first we write the symbol of lithium, then one electron. Similarly, all the group 1 elements, they are having one electron in the outermost shell, so we just write their symbols and put one electron around it. It may be dot or it may be cross. Now group 2 having 2 valence electron, so around the symbol of the element we show the 2 electron dot. Similarly, magnesium 2 electron dot, calcium, strontium and barium all belongs to second group, so they have 2 valence electron, hence 2 dots are shown around their symbol. Now group 13 elements have 3 electrons in their valence shell, so boron is having this. First we write down the symbol of boron and then put 3 electron in the form of dots, and this is called Lewis symbol for boron. Similarly, this is the Lewis symbol for aluminium. Group 14 have 4 valence electron in their outermost shell. So carbon, around carbon symbol there are 4 dots that represent the 4 valence electron. Similarly in silicon. Now group 15 elements are having 5 electron in the outermost shell, so 5 dots around the symbol. Similarly, phosphorus symbol, first we write down the symbol of phosphorus, then we put 5 dots. Similarly in 16 group, 6 dots around the symbols. In group 17, 7 dots around the symbol, and in group 18 all the noble gases are there which are having complete octet, that is 8 electron around the symbol of the element. Now what is the significance of these Lewis symbol? So with the help of Lewis symbol we can predict the valency of the element. How we predict the valency of the element with the help of this Lewis symbol? In Lewis symbol, there are dots which represent the valence electron. So by seeing the Lewis symbol, we can predict the valency. Valency of the element is maybe equal to the number of valence electron in that element in the Lewis structure, or 8 minus number of valence electron. Now let us take example. Suppose I am taking example of magnesium. There are 2 electrons in the magnesium, so its valency is 2. In aluminium, 3 electrons, so valency is 3. In silicon, there is 4 electrons, so valency is 4. Now in phosphorus, there are 5 electrons in the Lewis structure, but its valency is 8 minus 5, that is 3. Similarly, nitrogen is also having 3 valency. Oxygen is having 8 minus 6, that is 2. Similarly, fluorine, 7 dots are there, so 8 minus 7, 1 is the valency. Similarly, inert gases have 8 electrons, so 8 minus 8, 0 is the valency. So the valency of the inert gas is, that is group 18, is 0. Now the next topic is ionic bond. Now what is the ionic bond? An ionic bond. Ionic bond is formed by transfer of one or more electrons from one atom to another. Means one atom give electron and the another one takes these electrons. Now this bond is formed between a metal and a non-metal. Now metal have tendency to lose electron, hence they form positively charged ion or cation. Non-metals accept these electron and they have tendency to accept electron and they form anion or negatively charged ion. Now these cation and anion to held together by electrostatic forces of attraction, and these forces of attraction are called ionic bond. So how we define ionic bond? Electrostatic forces of attraction holding the oppositely charged ions is called ionic bond. Now I am taking example of formation of ionic bond. Let us take the simple ionic compound NaCl. Now sodium is having 11 atomic number, 281 is the configuration. So you see that one extra electron is there in the outermost shell of sodium. Now it tend to lose this electron to attain the stability, or you can say 8 electron in the outermost shell. So it readily loses this electron and convert into the positively charged ion, that is sodium Na plus, and configuration is 28, that is a stable configuration. Now Cl is having 287 configuration and it need one electron to complete its octet. So this electron which is donated by the sodium is accepted by this chlorine and it is converted into chloride anion, that is Cl minus, having a stable configuration 288. Now this Na plus and this chlorine Cl minus held together by electrostatic forces of attraction and they form NaCl, that is an ionic compound. Now I am taking the example of CaF2, calcium fluoride. Calcium is having atomic number 20. 2882 is the configuration. So in order to achieve stable configuration, it need to lose these 2 electrons. So it readily lose these 2 electrons and form Ca2 plus, and configuration is 288, stable configuration. Similarly, fluorine having 27 configuration, it need 1 electron to complete its octet. So fluorine accept 1 electron to convert into F minus. Now because calcium loses 2 electron, so fluorine need to accept 2 electron, but one fluorine atom have to accept only 1 electron. So we take 2 fluorine atoms and they take 2 electrons which are donated by the calcium and converted into 2 F minus ions. Now this Ca plus 2 ion and F minus ion held together by the electrostatic forces and CaF2 is formed. Now I am taking the energy changes during the formation of ionic bond. Now what are the energy changes during the formation of ionic bond? Let us consider the example of AX molecule. 2 atoms are present, A and X. Now first step is formation of gaseous cation. In this step, gaseous atom loses electron. Suppose A is the metal, so it has tendency to lose electron. Now when this lose electron, and for we know that to lose electron the energy is required, so this process is an endothermic process and the energy required for this process is called ionization enthalpy and it is denoted by delta IEH. IE means ionization enthalpy, H is enthalpy and delta is change in enthalpy. Delta H is change in enthalpy, IE is ionization enthalpy. Now this is the gaseous A atom, and when it lose one electron, it is converted into A plus ion, and the energy required is called plus X kilojoule per mole, that is ionization enthalpy. Now plus sign denote that the energy is required. Whenever we supply energy, then we put the sign plus, and whenever the energy is released in some process, then we put the sign minus. We already studied about it in the previous chapter, that is periodicity. Now the second step is formation of gaseous anion. In this step, gaseous atom X, which is actually a non-metal, it gain electron which is lost by the atom A, and it is then exothermic process, because whenever an electron is added to a gaseous atom, then the energy is released. So this process is exothermic process, and the energy released is called electron gain enthalpy. So X, when gain one electron, converted into X minus, and the energy released is called delta Heg, and this is minus Y kilojoule per mole. Minus sign denote that energy is released in this process. Now in the third step, these cation and anion, which are formed in first and second step respectively, they held together by electrostatic forces and form crystal lattice. So whenever a crystal lattice form, energy is released, and the energy released in this process is called lattice enthalpy, that is delta LH. A plus plus X minus, cation plus anion, they form AX, and energy released is called lattice enthalpy, delta LH, and it is minus Z. Minus sign denote that the energy is released in this process. Now for the formation of a stable ionic bond, the condition is that the total energy released must be greater than the total energy required. So what are the factors on which the formation of ionic bond depend? The first is ionization enthalpy. Now listen, ionization enthalpy is the energy which we need to provide to gaseous metal to convert it into cation. So because we are supplying this energy, so this energy should be less. Again I am repeating you that the process is endothermic, that the process of formation of cation is endothermic. So we have to supply this energy. That means this energy should be less, so ionization enthalpy value should be less, and जितनी ज़्यादा कम होगी ionization enthalpy value, greater the tendency to form cation and greater will be the tendency to form ionic bond. So for the formation of ionic bond, the ionization enthalpy of metal should be less. Now the second is electron gain enthalpy. This is the energy released, so it should be more, and the greater the value of electron gain enthalpy, greater is the tendency of a non-metal to convert it into an ion, and more will be the tendency to form ionic bond. So electron gain enthalpy of non-metal should be high. Now the third is lattice enthalpy. This is also the energy released, so it should also be high. So now you should know what is the definition of lattice enthalpy. Amount of energy released when 1 mole of ionic solid is formed by close packed oppositely charged ions is called lattice enthalpy. So the enthalpy is means the energy is released in this process, hence this lattice enthalpy should be high. This is A plus X minus converted into AX, and the energy released is called lattice enthalpy, and greater the value of lattice enthalpy, more is the tendency to form ionic bond. So three conditions कौन सी है for the formation of stable ionic bond? The first is ionization enthalpy of metal should be low, electron gain enthalpy of a non-metal should be high, and the lattice enthalpy should be high. So whenever these conditions are there, then the stable ionic bond is formed. So now I am starting the general properties of ionic bond. Now what are the general properties of ionic bond? The first property I am taking the physical state. So ionic compounds generally found in the form of crystalline solid. The second property is melting point and boiling point. Now because there is strong attraction present between the cation and anion, and the ionic compounds the ions are bound with strong electrostatic forces, hence more energy is required to break these forces, and hence melting point and boiling point of ionic compounds are high. The third property is electrical conductivity. Now this is very important, that in solid state ionic compounds are bad conductor of electricity. Why? Because ions are not free to move in solid state. But They are good conductor of electricity in aqueous solution and in molten state, because in these two states ions are free to move and complete the circuit, and hence they are good conductor of electricity. Now the next is solubility. Now solubility ke liye you should know that like dissolves like, means if the substance is polar having positive and negative charges, then they dissolve in the water or in polar solvent, and if they are not polar, then they dissolve in non-polar solvent. So we are talking about ionic bonds, so they are polar and hence they are soluble in water and in other polar solvents. Now the next is ionic reactions. Now in ionic compounds, ions are present, and whenever we mix two solutions of ionic compound, then ions just separate with each other and the bonds of attraction is formed with the another ion, means there is no making and breaking of bond, only the ion separates and attach with the other ions. So this process is very quick and the ionic reactions are almost instantaneous. For example, if we take aqueous AgNO3 solution and mix it with aqueous NaCl solution, then immediately we will get the white PPT of silver chloride, that is AgCl, along with the formation of NaNO3, which remains in the solution in aqueous form. Now the next type of bond is covalent bond. Now the bond which is formed by the mutual sharing of electrons between two same atoms or between two different elements are called covalent bond, and the shared pair of electron is called bond pair. And electron pairs which are not participated in the bonding and remain on the atom are called unshared pair of electron or lone pair of electron. For example, suppose I am taking the example of chlorine molecule. So this is one Cl, this is another Cl. Cl is having 7 electron out on the outermost shell. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 1, 7. And this is 1 for this chlorine atom, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So we see that this electron pair is called bond pair, and these three electron pair 1, 2 and 3 on each chlorine atom are called unshared pair or lone pair of electrons. Now let us take the example of chlorine molecule. Here chlorine is having 7 electron in the outermost shell. So these are the 7 electrons of chlorine, 2, 2, 4, 2, 6 and 1, 7, and it need 1 electron to complete its octet. So here 1 electron sharing takes place. This is shared pair of electron and Cl single bond Cl is formed. So in this case both Cl atom have 8 electron, that is complete octet. Similarly Oxygen is having 6 electron in the outermost shell and it need 8 electron. So 2 electron sharing takes place and hence double bond is formed between two oxygen atom. Now taking the example of nitrogen. Nitrogen is having 5 electron in the outermost shell, and in order to complete its octet it need 3 electron. So 3 electron pair sharing takes place and triple bond is formed between the nitrogen atom in nitrogen molecule. Now coming to the methane formula is CH4. So each hydrogen share 1 electron with the 4 electrons of carbon and form 4 single bonds, and there is no lone pair on carbon. Always remember one thing, in hydrocarbon, carbon do not have any lone pair of electron. Now here in oxygen, 2 lone pairs are present on each oxygen atom after formation of the double bond. Now in ammonia, nitrogen is having 5 electrons, 3 electrons are shared with the hydrogen to form 3 covalent bond, and 2 electron pair remain on nitrogen as a lone pair of electron. Now the next example is water. Water may oxygen is having 6 electron, 1 electron pair shared with hydrogen, and remaining 2 electron pairs are present on this oxygen. So these are lone pair of electrons. Now I am taking the properties of covalent compound. First is physical state. Covalent compound is formed by sharing of electrons. So this bond is a weak bond. That is why they are found in liquid state or in gaseous state. Now exceptions are there. Urea, sugar, they are found in the solid state. Now the next is electrical conductivity. Because ions are not present here, so they are poor conductor of electricity. Now the next is melting and boiling point. Because they have weak forces of attraction, so less energy will be required to break these bonds because the bonds are weak. So melting points and boiling points of these compounds are quite low. Next is solubility. Again, because they are non-polar, so they are insoluble in water and polar solvent, but they are soluble in non-polar solvent like benzene, ether, acetone, etc. Now molecular reaction. In covalent compound, the previous bonds are break and the new bonds will be formed. So the breaking and making of the bond takes some time, hence covalent compounds do not produce ions in the aqueous solution, so their reactions are quite slow as these reactions involve breaking and making of the bonds. Now the next type of bond is called coordinate bond or dative bond. This is a special type of covalent bond in which the shared pair of electron is given by only one atom, and in this the atom which give the shared pair of the electron is called donor atom, and which accept the electron pair is called acceptor, and there is a arrow sign between the donor and acceptor, this type of arrow. Now first I'm taking formation of ozone, O3. Now look here, this is the molecule of ozone, 3 atoms of oxygen. Each atom contain 6 electron in the valence shell. So between these two oxygen atoms, this is the first oxygen atom, this is the second oxygen atom. Between these two electron pair sharing is there, and between these two, one electron pair sharing is there. So the bond is double bond here and single bond here. Now look here, यहाँ पे ये जो दो इलेक्ट्रॉन है, it is given by middle oxygen, that is the oxygen number 2 to oxygen number 3. So it is actually the coordinate bond, because अगर दो इलेक्ट्रॉन की शेयरिंग करवाते हैं तो मिडल वाले ऑक्सीजन के पास ऑक्टेट से एक्सटेंडेड इलेक्ट्रॉन हो जाएंगे, मींस 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 इलेक्ट्रॉन हो जाते हैं. तो यहाँ पे शेयरिंग जो है वो इस तरह से होती है कि शेयर्ड पेयर जो है इट इज गिवन बाय द ऑक्सीजन number 2 only. So this type of bond, this is the dative bond and this is the dative bond. This is the donor oxygen, this is the acceptor oxygen. Now the next is NH4 plus. In NH4 plus, nitrogen is having 5 electron in the outermost shell, one electron sharing with the 3 hydrogen, and this hydrogen is having H plus. Now this H plus means there is no electron. So these electron pair is given to this hydrogen and the coordinate bond is formed between these two. So this is the structure, 3 simple bond, and this is the coordinate bond. In general, the coordinate bond is shown by the simple covalent bond, and it is considered as a simple covalent bond like other covalent bond which is formed by the mutual sharing. Now the next topic is Lewis representation of simple molecules and polyatomic ions. Now there are some rules for writing Lewis structure. So let us discuss the rule. First of all, add the valence electrons of the combining atoms. This gives you the total number of electrons available for bonding. Now, for polyatomic anion, add 1 electron to the total number of electrons for each unit negative charge. Suppose there is 1 unit negative charge, so you add 1 electron. If 2 unit negative charge are there, so you add 2 electrons. For example, in CO3 2 minus, total electrons. In carbon valence shell 4 electron, so 4 electron of carbon. Then oxygen is having 6 electron in the outermost shell and 3 atoms of oxygen are present. So 3 into 6 for oxygen atom, and minus 2 charge is there, यानी कि 2 electron for the negative charge. तो total कितने हो गए आपके 4 plus 18 plus 2, and it is equal to 24 total electrons. Means we have to distribute these 24 electrons among carbon and oxygen in CO3 2 minus ion. Now for polyatomic cation, subtract 1 electron for each unit positive charge. For example, in NH4 plus, so whatever the number of electron, like in nitrogen 5 electrons are there in the outermost shell, each atom of hydrogen is having 1 electron and 4 atoms of hydrogen, so 4 electron, but there is 1 positive charge, so minus 1 electron. So 4 plus 5 9, 9 minus 1, that is total 8 electron we have to arrange in formation of NH4 plus. Now the next is, once you get the number of electrons, valence electrons, then we place the least electronegative atom in the center and more electronegative atoms on the terminal position. For example, like in carbonate ion, we place C, which is less electronegative, in the middle, and then we place oxygen around this carbon in this manner, and then we distribute the electrons among these as the bond pair and unshared pair. Now distribute the electrons properly as share in proportion to the total number of bonds, and the remaining electrons are utilized either for the multiple bonding, that is double bond or triple bond, or for indicating the lone pair or unshared pair of electrons. Now I am taking some examples. Suppose first example is H2. Now in hydrogen, one electron is present. So this is hydrogen, one electron. This is another hydrogen, one electron. So one electron is sharing. So this is the Lewis representation, and one bond is there between hydrogen. In oxygen, 6 electrons are present in each oxygen. So two electron sharing takes place and double bond is present, and rest are two lone pairs of electron on each oxygen. Actually, in the formation of molecule, when we represent it in the form of Lewis structure, it is more of practice rather than rules. So you practice it and you will get better in the structure formation. Now the next is ozone. First you place 3 oxygen atom in the manner, and then two electron sharing, and this is the coordinate bond formed between. This is actually the coordinate bond, right? Now the next is NF3, nitrogen and 3 fluorine. Nitrogen is less electronegative, so it is in the center. Fluorine is more electronegative, so it is around the nitrogen, and one electron sharing takes place, and nitrogen is having 1 electron pair, and each fluorine is having 3 electron pairs with it. Now carbonate. So carbon in the center, oxygen around it, 2 electron pair sharing here. Now 1 electron pair sharing here and 1 electron pair sharing here, and -2 overall charge. Now the next is HNO3. In HNO3 we put nitrogen here because it is less negative than oxygen, then 3 oxygen, and this is hydrogen. Always remember one thing, hydrogen के साथ हमेशा एक बॉन्ड की शेयरिंग होगी, चाहे वो कोई भी एटम हो. So there is a single bond between oxygen and hydrogen. Here again one single bond. यहाँ पे आपका आ जाएगा double bond, and then here again single bond. And positive charges there on nitrogen because there is no unpaired electron present on it now. Now this is the formation of HNO3. Now this is the structure of H2SO3, that is sulfurous acid. So you see that sulfur, oxygen, two electron bond sharing is there. This is one electron pair sharing. Hydrogen के साथ always single bond is formed. So this is the structure of sulfurous acid. Now sulfuric acid, first we place sulfur in the middle, then around it oxygen, and then 2 hydrogen. So all the single bonds present here, and 2 oxygen form double bond with the sulfur. Right, now remember this thing, this is the case of extended octet. Sulfur is having more than 8 electron around it. Now the next is HNO3. In HNO3, nitrogen formed double bond with this oxygen, then a single bond with this oxygen. This is actually the coordinate bond. Nitrogen donates these 2 electrons towards itself. So it is covalent bond, but it is the coordinate type covalent bond. Now again here, this is the 1 electron pair sharing, and this is again 1 electron pair sharing, right? So in nitrogen, no electron pair left as unpaired electron. Now this is acetic acid or methanoic acid or formic acid. Here carbon in the center, with hydrogen it forms single bond, with oxygen it forms single bond, oxygen and hydrogen it is a single bond again, and this is the double bond, right? Now the next is H2SO5. Now here hydrogen के साथ तो we know that always single bond is formed. These 2 oxygen, double bond is formed, and here again 2 single bond with this sulfur. You practice it, more you practice, more this it will be easier for you. This is not at all difficult, little bit practice is required. Now this is HClO4. Now here chlorine in the center, then oxygen around it, and this is hydrogen. This is single bond. Chlorine के साथ this is single bond, this is single bond, and this is single bond. So this is HClO4 structure. Now the next topic is calculation of formal charge. Now first of all, we should know what is a formal charge. Formal charge may be defined as the difference between the number of valence electrons of the atom in an isolated or free state and the number of electrons assigned to that atom in the Lewis structure, and it is represented as the formula for the calculation of the formal charge is formal charge on any atom, it is equal to total number of valence electron minus, now in bracket, total number of unshared electrons, not pair, unshared electrons, plus total number of bonds around that atom. Now I am taking example of CO2. Now suppose this is C, double bond O, and this is double bond O, and oxygen is having 2 lone pair, this oxygen, and this oxygen is again having 2 lone pair. So let us calculate the formal charge on carbon first. Now total number of valence electron in this carbon is 4, we know that. Now minus then in bracket total number of unshared pair of electron on carbon, there is no unshared pair electrons, so it is 0. Then plus, then total number of bonds around it is 1, 2, 3 and 4, so we write it 4. So this is 4 minus 4, that is equal to 0, and we see that the number of valence electron is 4 and the number of electron around the carbon is also 4. That is why there is no formal charge on this carbon. Now taking example of this oxygen. Now oxygen is having how many electron in the valence shell? 6. So we write it 6 here. Then put the minus sign. Then in bracket the number of unshared electron 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 unshared of electron. Now plus how many bonds are there? 1 and 2. So 2 bonds are there, right? So 6 minus 6, that is 0. So there is no charge on this oxygen and there is no charge on this oxygen because it is the same case. So total charge on this is equal to 0. And one more thing I am telling you, that the sum of the formal charge of all the atoms in a molecule is equal to charge on them, and we know that in CO2 molecule there is no charge, no positive charge, no negative charge, that means 0 charge. That is why the sum of the formal charge of all the atoms in CO2 is 0. Now let us take some examples of formal charge. This is the example of CO2 which I already told you, that 0, 0, 0 is the formal charge on each carbon and oxygen atom. Now nitrogen का अगर हम calculate करें तो how many electrons, valence electrons are there in nitrogen? In nitrogen we have 5 valence electron, right? Now then minus sign, then bracket, then how many number of unshared electron? 2. So write it 2 here. Then number of bonds 1, 2, 3. So plus 3. So 5 minus 5 is equal to 3. So there is 0 charge on this nitrogen. Again coming to this oxygen. Now in oxygen 6 electrons are present. So 6, then minus, then unshared कितने हो गए आपके electrons? 4. So 4 plus, then number of bonds are 2. So this is 2. So 6 minus 6, that is equal to 0. Again this is 0. Now coming to this oxygen. For this oxygen the valence electron is again 6, right? So the 6 is the valence electron. Then minus how many unshared electron? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are the unshared electron. Now count the number of bonds. Number of bonds are 1 only. So this is 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. So 6 minus 7 charge is minus 1. So this is the minus 1 charge on this oxygen, right? So in this manner we can calculate the formal charge. Let us take one more example. Now here in this ozone, for this oxygen, let us calculate the formal charge. Valence electron in this oxygen 6, then minus, in bracket 1, 2, 3, 4 are the non-bonding electron or unshared electron, plus how many bonds are there? 2. So this is 2 bonds are there, right? So 6 minus 6 is equal to 0. So there is 0 charge on this oxygen, formal charge, right? Now on this oxygen again 6, then minus 2, right? Then plus 1, 2, 3 bonds, so 3. So 6 minus 5 is equal to 1. So formal charge on this oxygen is plus 1, right? Now plus 1. Now here on this oxygen again 6 are the valence electrons, then minus, अब यहाँ पे आप देखिए कितने इलेक्ट्रॉन है? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, राइट? एंड बॉन्ड्स कितना है? 1. तो 6 minus 1, 6 plus 1 is 7. 6 minus 7 is equal to minus 1. So minus 1 is the charge. So यहाँ पे चार्ज आपका 0, इधर plus 1 और यहाँ पे आपका चार्ज हो गया minus 1. Total charge on ozone is 0. So we see that there is no charge on this ozone. Now here it is minus charge, NO2 minus it is. So you can calculate 0 plus 0 plus minus 1. So the total charge is minus 1. It is actually NO2 minus, not NO2. Now coming to this, again you calculate the charge in this manner. Now all the 3 oxygen are same. So the formal charge on the oxygen are same. So let us calculate. 6 is the valence electron. So first 6, then minus, then what is the unshared electron? 1, 2, 3, 4 and number of bond is 2. These are 2 bonds. So 6 minus 6 is equal to 0. So 0 charge is there on all the oxygen. So you can see 0 charge, 0 charge, 0 charge. Coming to the sulfur. Now sulfur is having 6 electron again. Minus, there is no unshared pair electron, right? But there are 6 bond. So 6 minus 6 is equal to 0. So in SO3 there is 0 charge on sulfur again. So this is the 0 charge on sulfur. Overall charge is also 0. Now coming to the NH4 plus. Now first एक नाइट्रोजन का ले लेते हैं हम. So this nitrogen is having 5 electron in the outermost shell. So this is the 5 electron. Then there is no unpaired electron. So no unpaired electron means 0. Then number of bonds are 4. This is 4. Now 5 minus 4 is equal to plus 1. So plus 1 is the charge on nitrogen. Now for hydrogen, each hydrogen का आप निकालिए तो hydrogen is having 1 electron in the outermost shell minus no unshared pair of electron, so it is 0. Then plus number of bonds are 1, 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. So on hydrogen there is 0 charge. All the hydrogen are similar, so on all hydrogen there is 0 charge. Now 0 plus 1 is equal to 1, so there is overall plus 1 charge on the complete molecule. So in this manner we can calculate the formal charge on different atoms of the molecule. Always remember one thing, formal charge is calculated for each atom of the molecule individually. Now this is again the example, so you can calculate the formal charge on the central atom in the similar manner which I explained you earlier. Now the next is limitations of octet rule. We know that what is octet rule, that each element tend to complete its octet with 8 electron, and for this it may donate or accept or share electron, and this is called octet rule. Now there are some exceptions of octet rule. Some compounds are there in which the octet of the central atom is incomplete, matlab maybe the less than 8 electron or maybe the more than 8 electron are there. So first I am taking the example of incomplete octet, that is less than 8 electron. Now the example is LiCl. First example, in LiCl there is only 2 electron with lithium, so incomplete octet. Then BeH2, you see BeH2 like BeF2, like अगर मैं यहाँ पे हाइड्रोजन रख दूं, BeH2 की स्ट्रक्चर क्या होगी? Let us see the structure. This is beryllium atom, right? 2 electrons are there, 1s2 2s2. So 2s2 valence shell electron are 2, तो एक एक बॉन्ड बना लेगा ये हाइड्रोजन के साथ में, like in this. And how many electrons are there total around beryllium? 2 and 2 4, so total 4 electron. Now in BCl3 you can see around boron there are 3 bonds, so 3 into 2, that is 6 electron, again incomplete octet. Similarly AlCl3 structure is similar to BCl3 and again there are 6 electrons. In BeF2 again there are 2 and 2 4 electron around beryllium, so this is again the exception of octet rule, and we can say that the octet rule is violate here. So this is the example of the violation of octet rule, that is they are having incomplete octet. Now one more thing I want to tell you, that the compounds in which the octet is incomplete, so they have tendency to accept the electron pair, so they are also called Lewis acids. Remember this thing, that the compounds which are having incomplete octet have tendency to take electron pair, and that is why they are called Lewis acids. They are actually acids. Now next exception of the octet rule is expanded octet, means the central atom have more than 8 electron. Example is XeF4. Xenon is already having 8 electron. Now you can see here structure 4 bonds, 4 to the 8 and 2 electron pair. तो total electron कितने हो गए आपके? 8 9 10 11 12, so total 12 electrons are there with xenon. So this is the example of extended octet. Now I am taking the another example, PCl5. Now in PCl5 there are 10 electron with phosphorus, so again this is the example of extended octet. I am taking SF6 example. Here 6 bonds are there, so that means 6 to the 12 electrons are there. All the 3 12 10 and 12, these are more than 8, that is why they are the example of extended octet, and here again the octet rule is violate. Now the next exception is formation of odd electron molecule. There are some odd electron molecule which are quite stable. Odd electron means number 8 to ho nahi sakta. So let us take example NO, that is nitric oxide. Now here nitrogen is having 1 2 3 4 5 electrons, so this is odd electron. Now let us take the example of NO2 minus. In NO2 minus, nitrogen is having 1 2 electron of this bond, 2 electron of this bond, 2 electron of this bond, 6 and 1 electron this. So total 7 electrons. 7 is the odd electron, hence this is again the exception of octet rule. Now according to octet rule, the element tend to complete its octet, but we know that all the inert gases, they are having their complete octet already. So they have no tendency to form bond, but xenon form bond with fluorine and oxygen, and so many compounds of xenon with fluorine and oxygen are known. For example, XeF2, XeF4, XeF6, XeOF2, XeOF4. So again, that octet rule is violate here again. Now, this octet theory does not account for the shapes of the molecule. कोई भी information नहीं देती है कि what is the shape, whether it is linear, trigonal, tetrahedral. No information about the shape of the molecule is given by octet rule. Then this theory, that is Lewis theory, or you can say octet theory, is not able to predict the energy changes during the bond formation, whether the energy is released or absorbed in the bond. It does not give any information about it. Next, I am taking bond parameters. So first is bond length. Now, first of all, you should know what is the definition of bond length. The average distance between the centers of the nuclei of the two bonded atom in a molecule is called bond length. Suppose this is the nucleus of hydrogen. I am taking the example of hydrogen molecule, right? So this is the atom of hydrogen and this is the nucleus of hydrogen. This is the another atom of hydrogen and this is the nucleus of this hydrogen. So center of this nucleus, और इन दोनों को अगर आप line से जोड़ देते हैं, this line is called bond length, and unit of bond length is angstrom and picometer. Then it is determined by the X-ray diffraction or other spectroscopic methods. Now, if I am talking about the ionic compound like NaCl, so suppose this is Na plus and the nucleus of Na plus, this is the nucleus of Cl minus. So the distance between the nucleus of two ion is called ionic radius. The sum of the radius of cation and anion is called bond length in case of ionic compound. In case of covalent compound, it is the radius of atom A and radius of atom B if they are different, like in HCl. So the radius of hydrogen plus radius of chlorine. This gives you the bond length of HCl bond. Now the next is factors affecting bond length. First factor is size of the atom. We know that more the size of the atom, more will be the radius, more the radius, more will be its bond length. So that is why bond length is directly proportional to the size of the atom. Second factor is multiplicity of bond. We know that for single bond there is one electron pair sharing. For double bond there are 2 electron pair sharing, and for triple bond there are 3 electron pair sharing takes place. Now, more the shared pair of electron, more is the attraction between the two atoms, and less is the distance between the nuclei, and less will be the bond length. So we can say that bond length is inversely proportional to the multiplicity of the bond. Means the bond length of triple bond is least than double bond and then single bond. We can take the example of carbon. Carbon single bond length is nearly 154 picometer, double bond is less than that, and triple bond is less than that also. Now the next is bond angle. First of all, you should know the definition of bond angle. Average angle between the lines representing the orbitals containing the bonding electron. You know that this line actually represents the overlapping of orbital, like carbon and hydrogen. Orbital overlap, and the overlapping we show just by a simple line for simplicity. So this angle, that is this hydrogen, carbon and hydrogen, this is the orbital overlapping of carbon and hydrogen. This is the orbital overlapping of carbon and hydrogen next, and the angle between them is called bond angle. This bond angle in methane, this is the methane molecule, that is CH4. So this is 109.5 degree here. The unit of the bond angle is degree per minute or second. Now in ammonia, NH3, the bond angle is 107 degree, and in H2O it is 104.5 degree. Now the next bond parameter is bond enthalpy or bond energy. The amount of energy required to break 1 mole of bond of particular type into atoms in a gaseous state is called bond enthalpy or bond energy. For example, in hydrogen molecule, these are the two hydrogen atom. So to break this bond, the energy required is 435.8 kilojoule per mole, and this is called the bond enthalpy for hydrogen molecule. Always remember one thing, this is the having plus sign. That means it is the energy required. We have to supply this energy. So this is called bond enthalpy. Now look here, this is diatomic molecule, and by supplying this bond enthalpy, it is converted into the atomic hydrogen. So in this case, the bond enthalpy is also called enthalpy of atomization when there is a diatomic molecule. Now if the bond is multiple, like double bond or triple bond is there, then because we know that double bond is stronger than single bond and triple bond is stronger than double bond. So more stronger the bond is, more will be the energy required to break it. Let us take the example. We are taking example of H2, O2 and N2. Hydrogen is having single bond, oxygen is having double bond between them, and nitrogen is having triple bond between the nitrogen atom in nitrogen molecule. So to break single bond, energy required is 435.8 kilojoule per mole. This is energy of atomization. I already told you that bond enthalpy in the diatomic molecule case called enthalpy of atomization. Now double bond required more energy, that is 498 kilojoule per mole, and triple bond required much more energy, that is 946 kilojoule per mole. Now the next is in case of polyatomic molecule, means more than 2 atoms are present in the molecule. In that case we use the term mean or average bond enthalpy. Let us take the example of H2O. Now you know that in H2O this is oxygen, this is hydrogen, and this is hydrogen. So in first step one bond is break. So this H2O is first converted into one hydrogen and the another one is OH, right? So this is H and OH, and the delta AH1, that is enthalpy of atomization 1, is 502 kilojoule per mole. Now in second step the bond between this O and H will break. So OH is converted into O and H, and the energy required is 427 kilojoule per mole. Now the total energy or total bond enthalpy for H2O molecule is calculated by the average of it. So average is 502 plus 427 divided by 2. Right now it is equal to 464.5 kilojoule per mole. So this is the average bond enthalpy in case of water. Now the next parameter is bond order. Now how we define bond order? It is just the number of bond present between the two atoms is called bond order. Now in hydrogen there are one bond or one electron pair, so it is bond order is 1. Between two oxygen, in oxygen molecule there are double bonds, so bond order is 2. In nitrogen there is triple bond, so the bond order is 3. In carbon monoxide there is triple bond, so the bond order is 3. Now one more important thing, sometime आपको कहा जाता है कि calculate the bond order in O2 minus 2 or CO or NO plus, so it will be difficult for you. So just remember one thing, that isoelectronic molecules have identical bond order. Now look here in F2 and O2 minus 2, both are isoelectronic. How? In fluorine 9 valence electron, so 9 plus 9, 18 electron in the F2. Now in O2 oxygen 8, 8 to the 16 minus 2 matlab 2 electron more, so 16 plus 2, that is 18. So because they are isoelectronic means having same number of electron, so they have same bond order. So in fluorine there is single bond and bond order is 1, so in O2 minus 2 again the bond order is 1. Similarly N minus 2, CO and NO, they all are having bond order 3 because they all are having 10 and plus 2, 12 electrons, and hence they are isoelectronic and have same bond order as nitrogen, so it is bond order is 3. Now the next is, more the bond order, more will be the strength of the bond, so more energy is required, so more will be the bond enthalpy to break this bond, and less will be the bond length, right? Now the next parameter is resonance structure or resonance. Now what is resonance? First of all you should know this. Now whenever a single Lewis structure is not appropriate to describe all the properties of the molecules, so more than one structure will be given to explain the properties, and these structures are called resonating structures, and the phenomena is called resonance. Now between two resonating structure we put the double-sided arrow like this. This is the arrow, right? Now actual structure is none of them, but it is the combined form of them, and that is called resonance hybrid, and resonance hybrid is denoted by these three lines between the resonating structure. This is the resonance hybrid. Now taking the example of ozone, now in ozone there is double bond between these two oxygen, in next structure there is double bond between these two. Now because in ozone all the double bonds are equal, whenever the bonds are measured this is not equal to double bond and this is not equal to single bond, but somehow these two are in between the double and single bond and they are equal, so we can explain it only with the help of resonance. This is the resonance hybrid, that means these two bonds are having double bond character in them, they are not totally double bond, but these electrons are actually delocalized between these two bonds. Similarly, this is the structure of NO2 minus. Again, two resonating structures are there, and in the resonance hybrid, again there are double bond character in all the two bonds. And this is the structure of NO2 minus. In one structure, double bond is in between these two, in another double bond is between these two, and in the third one double bond is between these two, right? So these are the structures, resonating structures of some compounds, right? So what is resonance? Resonance is the phenomena by which a molecule is existed in more than two structure. Now in resonance, remember one thing, the position of the atom does not change. You see, nitrogen is here, और यहाँ पे भी नाइट्रोजन यहीं पे प्रेजेंट है, ऑक्सीजन यहाँ है, ऑक्सीजन यहाँ पे भी है, और ये ऑक्सीजन यहाँ है, यहाँ पे ये ऑक्सीजन है. तो पोजीशन चेंज किसकी होती है? एक तो बॉन्ड्स की पोजीशन चेंज होती है और एक लोन पेयर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स की. यहाँ पे देखिए, यहाँ पे इस ऑक्सीजन पे 3 लोन पेयर्स ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन है और यहाँ पे 2 है, और यहाँ पे रिवर्स हो गया, यहाँ पे 2 हो गया, यहाँ पे 3. बॉन्ड यहाँ पे सिंगल था, ये डबल में कन्वर्ट हो गया, राइट? और यहाँ पे जो था डबल बॉन्ड, वो यहाँ पे सिंगल बॉन्ड में कन्वर्ट हो गया. सो रिमेंबर वन थिंग, in resonance, in the phenomena of resonance, the position of the atom remains same, but only the position of the bonds and the position of lone pair of electron will change in different resonating structures. Hope you like the video. If you find it useful, please hit the like button and also subscribe my channel for the notifications of upcoming videos. Thank you.